Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook Live. And it's secret conversation for men, eyes and ears only. And this
Yeah,
message will self-destruct 30 seconds if you're a woman. So you better be careful.
but we're on your profile, so it's all sorts of women will be seeing it because I'm sure women are on your profile constantly. Oh my God, look at him.
Oh my goodness, Connor, you flatter. So we really just wanted to, open the doors to, some different conversations with men, and something that we've been looking at, recently is basically creating a different place for men and women to interact. But this time we're choosing to have a men's only conversation, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Because I don't know if you've realized, but men tend to function a little bit different with things often than women do. And so, yeah, what would you say, Connor, in terms of what have you noticed is different about, say, like
oh man,
creating with men?
everything,
Yeah,
absolutely everything is different. And it's really cool because just before me and you started doing this, I was talking to a man, um, and he was like, I don't understand them. Speaking about women, he's like, I just don't understand them. He's like, and then you got to like live with them and you got to like do this and this man doesn't actually do any access consciousness, but in speaking to him I realized quite possibly as a man, period, your greatest tool might be the tool that I gave him, because I was like, fuck, what can I say to this guy? And what I told him to do with his girlfriend is to say, I'm grateful to have you in my life. And he's like, what? Well, and after a little bit, he's like, well, what? And I could tell there's like, he didn't get it. And I didn't try to tell him exactly what it like why or what to do. And I was like, don't tell her why you're grateful. Don't try to explain it. Just say it.
yeah.
And and he's like, well, I feel like she should be saying that to me. And I'm like,
That's not how it works, buddy.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's not exactly how it works. I'm like, yeah, but I get that, but you know, they're women. They're right. So, and he's like, yeah, and everything's always my fault. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, if
Yeah,
there's something wrong, I did it. And I'm like, yeah.
yeah. If a tree falls in the forest, is a man still wrong? Well, of course, duh.
Yeah, exactly. And I could tell that he was like, and he's, and even, and when I told him to do that, he probably had the same reaction I had, which was like, well, how do I know if it's gonna work? And like, aren't they gonna like hate me for it? Because I told him, I was like, you got to say this like every day for at least a week, and things will be easier. And then he kind of wanted her to say that to him, and I was like, well, if you want her to say that to you, you got to say it every day for at least a month. And I could tell he was a little bit resistant because I get that he's like, well, if I say it every day, isn't she gonna think something's weird? And I was like, interestingly enough, the girls in my life that even know about this tool, even know that like I'm even know what I'm saying and stuff, and have heard it being used as a tool per se, and I don't really get to explain it further. I'm like, it still works for them really, really well.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, all right.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's interesting with some of these as well, because it's like you say, it's like you actually have to use them and see what they create to know how they work. Like you can't really figure it out before, because
Yeah.
at that point you have no idea really how a woman's world works, and
Yeah.
you use some of these tools, you start to get a little bit more of an insight into, oh, okay, this is how their world works, and this
Yeah.
is, this is what creates, and this is what doesn't. And it's a little bit of like playing around and actually finding out what it creates, which I think is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, me too. And like just like you said, like just going out and doing it rather than trying to figure it out, because that's just like trying to figure out women. You're not gonna. It's not gonna happen.
And I just want to point out as well, because it's like you said, there's going to be lots of women, lots of men watching this, and it's
Yeah.
we're not doing this as like a separation between men and women.
No.
It's like this is really about as well, men having the information about what the hell it is that they can create with women, and also vice versa. Like we will be doing
Yeah.
this in the opposite direction. So
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a woman before that had a man, and she was like, "But I want him," and I was like, "Tell him every day you're grateful for him." And she's like, "But I want him to say that to me," and I was like, "I know." And I'm like, if I was talking to him right now, I would tell him the same thing, but I'm
yeah.
not. So it's just like, and that woman also functions like a man. So there's that.
Yeah. And I totally remember like having all of these, like expectations of like what the other person, like for example, in a relationship should have as, like even like points of view, or just like how they should be treating me and all of this stuff. And it's like you kind of don't really realize how you're like, because if you have something like that, like a projection, for example, and then that other person doesn't fulfill it. Like they don't say that, they're grateful for you every day or something. It's like you just end up like rejecting them based on, what you set up as the thing that they're supposed to do. And it just doesn't work. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a way to make yourself crazy very quickly, basically.
Yeah.
Um, it's way easier to see the person in front of you, see what they're choosing, and, play and have fun with that, basically. So, I guess these tools are very pragmatic in that way as well. It's like
Yeah.
it's not hard, it's easy. You just have to, take off those rose-colored glasses a little bit.
Yeah, and just like you said, it's not about creating separation. And in fact, that 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 acknowledgement, saying that to your partner, this person that's in your life, that acknowledgement of I'm grateful to have you in my life, that is what dissipates and dissolves whatever separation that is there.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to say as well, I like the first time, reading the Gentleman's Club book, and, participating in the calls that became the Return of the Gentleman book. It was like this was the first time that I'd ever had access to conversations like this with
Oh
men,
my
where
God.
we talk this kind of stuff. So seriously grateful that they exist, and that's really as well part of what we wanted to open the door to, was more of that, and like what's going on now in the world that we can explore, and
Yeah.
from a woman's perspective.
Yeah. Well, and it's like just like you're saying, like for me, I would have never thought that acknowledging your differences like reduced separation. I would have thought that that created separation, but in truth, like when you start to really realize how different you are, how different men and women are from other people, then it actually creates less separation.
Yeah, and sort of like more clarity. It's like
Yeah.
there's not this like divide of like what the hell's going on. It's a little bit more like, oh, okay, I know what's going on, and like
Yeah.
knowing how to deal with it, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably things that we both would have heard, like, at least like 10 times, actually sort of started to make sense once I once I'd like looked at these tools from this perspective. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. So cool. I mean, we don't have very much time because I have to run, but
This is all you get, people.
all you get, a little taste.
All you get. And the
And we
truth is, though, Sewell and I are both very grateful to have you in our lives.
Yes, and we we adore you. And
We
we
do.
also have a we have an Irish leprechaun, but he's currently
He's
locked in a
kind of tall. I always thought leprechauns would be short.
yeah, but we've locked him away in a dungeon because he's been a bad boy, and
Yep.
so we couldn't bring him
At a
out.
dungeon at a castle,
Yeah,
nonetheless.
yeah, a very elegant dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he will be joining us next time.
Yeah.
But
So
thank
if you
you
all
for
want to spank him in the dungeon, come next time.
oh, Jules, I love
Yeah.
it. Yes, not leaving. Okay,
No.
cool.
All
So
right.
thank you so much, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll see you guys soon. And gents,
See you.
if you're watching and you would like to join, we have a call coming up. The elegant, what is
And
it?
unique and elegant gentleman.
Unique and elegant gentleman. So it's for men only. It's a men's only call, and yeah, you're welcome to come and play. And we'll put the link in the comments. Thanks, Connor, and yeah, talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sue. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.